Welcome, everyone. Really so happy to see people here today. A lot of old friends, a lot of warmth in this room that I'm feeling right now. I'm Paul Messier. I'm the head of the Lens Media Lab, and I'm introducing Kappy Mintie, who's...
Hey everyone, I'm Kappy Mintie, the senior researcher in art history at the Lens Media Lab.
Yeah, and so we're going to do a brief introduction, then we're going to get into the program. There's a few just housekeeping things I'm going to get out of the way, I suppose. A reminder that the event is being recorded, and so we'll take questions at the end of each session. Each session is moderated, so there's typically 3 talks and then a Q&A. So if you're participating in the Q&A, which I hope you are, please try to find a mic, and we'll have people with mics around, so it gets picked up on the recording. It's important, it's in big capital letters on my sheet, important that we don't bring food and drink into this room. And at the end of the event, there's a survey that will be sent out asking you what you thought. And I really think it would really be great if you could please attend to that. That feedback could be really important for us as we go forward. So with the housekeeping things out of the way, I want to really just welcome everyone and thank you all for making the effort to come and learn a little bit about our research in the Lens Media Lab. We, in terms of rationale, like why are we doing this? We are at, quite an inflection point in the lab. We've been working for about 8 years and thinking about materiality of photography, and thinking about scale. And we really have something to show for ourselves, I think, finally, after a lot of kind of basic research. We're moving into very much what I would describe as a kind of an applied research phase, where all of the work that we've been done in the lab is now, on some levels, ready for the field. And so this is a good moment to, you're representing the field, to start pushing some of this work out. So we've had very much this kind of inward focus, and now we're kind of into a phase where we want to push some of these ideas out. The other part of this inflection point is that we're at the end of our term of money in 2025. So it's kind of a now or never sort of moment. And it's good to have deadlines. And so we have really made an effort to kind of shape up these ideas that we've been working on and put them to kind of practical use. And I think you're going to see some examples of that. So let's see. Speaker bios are in the program. We're not going to do a bio for all the speakers from the podium. And yeah, I just want to, just again, go back to, I'm extremely proud of the work of the lab, and everybody in the lab is going to have an opportunity to speak and represent their work, which is really great. But I am, likewise just so grateful and humbled to have this opportunity, and that you would come and share this.
All right, thank you, Paul. And indeed, I think today we're taking a sort of mood of celebration, thinking about everything that we've accomplished, and are really excited to share it out with you all today. So in today's program, you will hear about a number of innovative tools and research developed by our lab and our collaborators to advance the study of the material history of photography. This work builds on scholarship from several disciplines that emphasizes and explores the objecthood of photographic images. And here I want to take a moment to acknowledge several projects in this area that have been influential and instructive for the Lens Media Lab, and to highlight the many insights that have been gained from engaging with photographs materially. In many ways, collaborations between museum curators and conservators have been central models for the lab in developing interdisciplinary research and educational projects that shed new light on the history of photography. Those that have been especially critical for our thinking at the lab include Object Photo, Modern Photographs, the Thomas Walter Collection, 1909 to 1949 at MoMA, the Alfred Stieglitz Collection website, developed by the Art Institute of Chicago, Moholy-Nagy Future Present, organized collaboratively by the Art Institute, the Guggenheim, and the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, Adrian Lundgren's research on F. Holland Day at the Library of Congress, André Kertész, Postcards from Paris from the Art Institute, the Bill Brandt and Henry Moore project, developed by the Yale Center for British Art, with Paul here, and the Gevaert paper project created by FOMU in Antwerp. And you'll hear more about the Gevaert paper project and several exciting new collaborative museum projects later today. The scholarship of academic historians who are focused on photography and are working in disciplines ranging from anthropology to art history and media studies has also had a strong influence on how the lab approaches its research and the data that we have anticipated will be useful to scholars. In this area, our thinking has been advanced by Jennifer Tucker and Michelle Henning's writings on the photochemical industry, Siobhan Angus and Monica Bravo's writings on photographic minerals, Nicole Shunkin and Alan Braddock's examinations of gelatin production, Alice Lovejoy and Nadia Bozak's studies of film, Kelly Wilder's research on photographic glass, and Heather Davis's work on the use of plastics in photography. As this short list suggests, photographic paper, which is the focus of our work at the Lens Media Lab, is one element in a broader set of photographic materials that have been examined in creative and productive ways by scholars in recent years. And we expect that this work will only grow in the future. Now that I've acknowledged many of the intellectual inspirations for the work of the lab and the symposium, I now want to turn to thank the many people who have done the on-the-ground work to make this symposium possible. First, organizing this event was a lab-wide effort, so a huge thanks to everyone on the LML team, Damon, Cynthia, Sydney, and Joytree for all their hard work and contributions. We also want to acknowledge the support of the administrative team at the Institute for the Preservation of Cultural Heritage, which is the institutional home of the Lens Media Lab, especially Allison Gilchrist, Beth Bolin, and Lori Batza. Our wonderful colleagues at Yale's West Campus, especially Communications Director John Atherton, worked with us to spread the word about the symposium. For our beautifully designed programs, and I hope you all got a copy of that, we are especially grateful to Miko McGinty and Rebecca Silvers. And a really big thanks is due to Joseph DiMaggio and Joseph Ringet at Yale Conference Services, who have been indispensable to planning all aspects of this event. Organizing a gathering like this also requires significant financial support. An Artist and Machine Intelligence Research Award from Google Arts and Culture was foundational to planning this event and undertaking our collaboration with the Center for Creative Photography, which you'll hear about later. And I want to give particular thanks to Eva Kozaneka at Google for her guidance. Finally, I want to acknowledge the deep generosity of the John Pritzker Family Fund, whose initial major grant launched the Lens Media Lab and has supported all of our work to date, including the symposium. We are especially grateful to John Pritzker, chair of the foundation, and Amy Rubino, its executive director. We could not have done any of this without their long-term support. All right, so now we are going to turn to our first panel. Unfortunately, our moderator, Cassie Mansfield, came down with COVID and cannot be here today, though I hear she is on the mend. So in her absence, I am going to introduce everyone and then we'll begin. And as Paul mentioned, we're just going to do very short intros. You can find more detailed bios about each presenter in the program. So our first presenter today will be Paul Messier, Pritzker Director of the Lens Media Lab. Next, we will hear from Damon Crockett, the lead data scientist at the Lens Media Lab, and then I will speak last. And again, I am Kappy Mintie, the senior researcher in art history at the Lens Media Lab. Paul, the podium is yours.